The U.S. And China signaling success at this point after 2 days of high-level trade talks in London. Officials from both countries said they agreed on a framework to get a truce reached with what we saw last month come out of Geneva to get that back on track. Commerce Secretary Lutnick telling reporters that the deal would remove restrictions on some Chinese exports of rare earth minerals, as well as some recent U.S. export restrictions on some high-tech stuff. But we haven't heard further details yet. The deal will await final approval from President Trump and President Xi of China. When he was announcing it yesterday, he was, as he does, he was very optimistic about it. But the Chinese people that were there were nodding and saying, yes, that's true. Yes, that's true. It is pointed out by some in different newspapers that the lack of clarity indicates, and actually Lutnick said, the president, or we will remove sort of certain restrictions on exports. So some people are surmising that the president needs to instruct his negotiators exactly which exports he's willing to remove restrictions on. But it looks like it's going to get done. And then there's
still back to where we
a lot of hard work that still needs to be
This gets us
done.
to the position. This is basically a framework.
Détente,
we will then look at trying to fix some of these trade issues. I mean, it does underscore the difficulty of when you combine these national security issues with the trade talks on some of these things, too. Because if you believe the rhetoric from what we've been listening to in the last several months and even the last several years from multiple administrations, the idea that you cannot export some of these semiconductors and other things because it would be seen as a threat to national security, all of a sudden we're going to say, okay, that's not the case in some of these issues. And that's where it gets a little confusing.
For now, we are not going to decouple from China in terms of trade.
You can't. The two largest economies in the world.
But I can't say that will always be the case, given what happens in the next decade. Depends on whether you're a real hawk on China or more of a dove. I mean, it'd be good to be optimistic and half full and say, look, they need us, we need them.
Right.
Eventually, maybe, we've been hoping for so long that things would change about their whole system, and it never has. And everybody's got the internet over there. Everybody's got social media.
Not the same.
Not the same. Probably not the same. What's a Tiananmen? But
there are all kinds of frustrations from allowing China into the WTO back in 2000 or whenever that happened, of them not playing by the rules and it not being enforced properly. Those are the frustrations that have been borne out over decades.
And hawks would point to much worse things than just that.
The theft of intellectual property.
The spying, buying up farmland near Taiwan. I don't know what
there's even a huge debate that was played out in the Sunday newspapers in London about the idea of them being able to build a huge new embassy that's very closely and goes over some of the areas where the cables are laid for financial firms in that same area.
Right.
So there's
hacking. We know a lot of they still coming from there, and not human. There's a lot of things that China probably point to what's going on in L.A. and say, we got the Uyghurs, but you do that. It's not comparable. It's not the same, at least in my view. But the markets, you might ask, wow, China trade deal, what's going on? Well,
this gets us back again to where we were a month ago.
It's all on the news,
right.
And we don't know details either. So.
Right, and that's part of the big issue on this. Now, some of the Asian technology companies have traded higher on this. I think the potential for the relief on the exports has seen as something that's new, but you're right. We don't have the details, and we'll have to wait.
S&P's up for the year now, right?
Yeah. Is it up for the year?
It's up for the year since the first, and it's up 20% or so. And
from the start of the year,
yeah.
But we had those highs back in February that were still
we did.
reaching back.
NASDAQ is up another 130 points or something.
Right. Yeah. Significant moves. Yeah.